Hey everyone, I'm gonna do a journey. Sometimes I talk too much, and sometimes I like to do journeys as well to help offset the balance of. So it's just not always just coming from me. And journeys are an aspect of all of us. It's like connecting onto the consciousness of everything, and through the eyes of a specific intention, specific spirit, a specific soul. I have a very beautiful scene I'm looking at right now. It's a lot of meaning to me. And I'm just going to turn my heater off. Let me just shut my car off for this. Otherwise, it just interferes with the video too much. I'm just contemplating. Contemplating the understanding of everything. Should I do a healing for the world? I do a lot of those. Maybe I need to do more. But the thing is, when I do healing, it's important that people watch them and play them all the way through. We don't even have to watch them. You just need to play it. Because every single time that's played, the consciousness of that is reactivated. So it's like healing time and time and time and time again. So that's a great thing about videos, because as you do the videos and every time that journey healing is played, it actually creates another healing. Plus, that healing never stops. It's always there. It's always speaking. It's always in the background. So every time it's played, it creates another time in history where it's played. So it has more of an impact. It's kind of interesting how that works. And there's so many things we could talk about when based around a reality and how to change it. And that every single time, we can adjust our reality microscopically, and sometimes in bigger jumps. It's one of those things that until we know for sure, it's always an if. It's like scientists. They only know what they know now. Tomorrow, that can completely change. Archaeologists, doctors, you go on and on and on. But the important thing is when you do find the change you need to allow it to happen, the worst thing you can do is hide it. That's where the problems start. One little lie turns into a big lie, which turns into a blah, 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 blah. And obviously I talked about the importance of telling the truth in the last video. So it's just tell the truth, especially if it's important. Our history is like, what is our history again? Because what we're finding out right now, we might even not, our history is completely different than we've been taught. Gonna feel shafted. Our history could be so much more colorful than it is. It's almost like we're purposely being dumbed down so that we can be sheep for the sheep herders and their bosses. Let's keep the populace dumb, not knowing the understanding of who they are, where they come from. Man, that rabbit hole's deep when it comes to spirituality, man. When you start going down that pathway, and the more you do all these journeys, you are told so much information. It's unbelievable. And then you have to cipher through all that and try to collaborate it in some form of what you believe. Sometimes you get down that rabbit hole and it's like turns you inside it upside down and spits you back out. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? That happened. That whole journey was such a mind F that it was like, oh my God. Like that's some of these journeys where they start talking about, for instance, reincarnation, about the universe, about it is unbelievably complex. Unbelievably complex. Are we in a matrix? Are we not in a matrix? Blah, 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 blah. Been told our whole universe is in a matrix. We're not actually living real life. It's all an illusionary life. Even when we die, our heaven is illusionary. That was the most interesting journey I did. I went to it was complete darkness with no light except for very, 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 very far away pinpoint of light, which I eventually went to. And I was able to go into the beginning of it. And that was really who we are, where we came from, our so-called heaven, so to speak. And that what we interpret as heaven and hell and earth and our universe is all an illusion. And we're stuck here until all of us learn to raise our vibration. It's almost like when we created our physical realm, we created a loop for ourselves, that we need to work through in order to be able to get back home. We chose this knowing that it will take a long, 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 long time. Could you imagine if everybody knew that and thought that way? We'd be like, holy fuck, I better start being a better person so I can get back up again to this place quick, sooner than later. Get back home to reality. It's pretty fucked up, though, when you think about it, because if everybody believed in life after death, this world would be a different place. But there's a lot of people that don't. And when you don't, you become a very dangerous person. When you believe there's no repercussions when you die, you become a very dangerous person. Well, let's not go down too far that rabbit hole. I want to do a journey here into something. Still thinking about it. And I like this sometimes to actually have a conversation and allow the conversation to guide the journey into what I need to do and what I'm being called to do. I'm just going to allow the universe to guide me. And I'm seeing a lot of snow right now and a blizzard. It's interesting. I come from the Yukon. This is off topic a bit. And I've seen all the southern states and the States and parts of Canada. And they're getting hit with some pretty severe weather. And the difference between where I live in the Yukon and where you live is that your houses, your cars, your infrastructure isn't designed for cold weather. That is part of your problem. There should be laws put into place that any new construction should have to have the ability to be at the coldest possible temperature that you would get in the last 300 years, for instance. Okay, in the last 300 years was as cold as it got. Okay, we have to beat that by 10 degrees. And your area that you live in has to be built to that standard. The reason I say that is that in your infrastructure is going to be able to support it. Because when we get cold weather, we get minus 50 here, Celsius. Everything works. Everybody still goes to school. You put that in Florida, Texas, California, what's going to happen? This is a food for thought. And I do feel for you guys. I understand that your infrastructure isn't there. And I feel for the people in Buffalo who lost their lives. I remember a storm in PEI. It's just before I left to Toronto. And before I started to go to school, it was 120 kilometer an hour winds, 120 centimeters of snow. And I went out for a walk in it. 15-foot drifts everywhere. My cars were gone. Couldn't find them. Completely buried. Decided to go for a walk in the middle of the storm. And I would have me and my friend, he decided to take cross-country skis. Fucker. Trek through the fucking snow. Anyway, literally 10 feet away, I couldn't see him. We had to yell to even keep in contact with each other or try to stay as close as possible, which is what we ended up doing. I spent a lot of time in winter. I understand it. I have respect for it. The cold weather is fucking dangerous. You have to be prepared for that. But when you're not, that's when the system fails you. Because realistically, there should be something put into place for situations like that. But again, the farther south you go, the harder it is to have that. But it's all about preparedness. Let's spend trillions of dollars in the military, but don't have any ability to help a place. Those people that died, there's one guy that actually broke into a school and saved a bunch of people's lives. There's people that died a couple of 100 feet from their house. Froze to death. Because they fell asleep, most likely. Or they suffocated themselves inside their own cars. Because they weren't taught how to survive. All these things, simple things, should be taught in the school system. All our governments in North America should have the ability to have a backup system if in case it drops down or we get a snowstorm. But they don't spend the money on that. Because it might not happen. It would have simply took emergency people who have the ability to have snowmobiles, lots of them, as a backup, to go save people trapped inside their cars. We all have GPSs. We all have phones. Every single one of those people could have been tracked down, saved. Instead, they were told to get off the emergency system. But you had people that were panicking inside their cars and people died. I know what it's like. During that storm, there's fires that burnt down multiple buildings because they couldn't get to the ability to shut the fire out. And how the hell does a fire start and burn in a snowstorm? It shows how resilient fire can be. Because when you have that much snow coming down and the house still burns to the ground, you know how hot that gets. I guess the thing is when somebody comes to your door in the middle of a snowstorm and they simply want to have shelter, we should be able to let them in. But there's a lot of us that are afraid because it could be somebody that wants to come and blah, 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 blah. This is our society now. Back in the day, it wouldn't even have been a question. Come in. Stay here until the weather gets better. What happened to us? What happened to the communities working together? They cared about each other. That's what's sad. And that's what is so sad that's been lost. And that can come back if schools teach properly, if communities come together and talk to each other in civil, organized ways, and people working together, not the loudest, most extreme person running everything. Come on. Some people need to be stopped. They need to be taken, pulled aside and say, what's going on? Why are you so upset? Why are you so angry? What is you so frustrated about? We need to start coming together as a community. In every community. This is how we change shit. Is by talking to each other civilly. And I've been looking at all these parts of conversations specifically, even things I disagree with, to see what it is they're so angry about. What are they so concerned about? Am I missing something? And I might make a mistake. I might say something that I don't understand the other side completely. All I can do is speak about what I understand and what I know now. But when you destroy people's lives because they don't understand what you're going through, that's the problem. Instead of actually talking about why I have my opinion and why you have your opinion, you decide to destroy a person's life. Anyway, that's enough of that. I talked for 17 minutes and 17 seconds. Now I'm going to talk about something. We're going to do a journey into the snowstorm. And it is quite cool in this car, so it's perfect. Not too cold, though. It's a perfect time to see and experience what it is that they want to show me. The reason they're showing me a snowstorm is because this is the way people's feelings are. Everything's frozen, everything's cold, everything is disconnected. Because what happens when there's a snowstorm? People become disconnected. They're forced to stay apart. But when the snow melts and the sun comes out and spring comes, people get outside. They start talking more. And the talking needs to be normalized. Coming together needs to be normalized. Because what's happening is that the world is trying to keep people in a snowstorm. And when spring comes, they're trying to still say there's a snowstorm. Because at one time when the spring came, kids rolled into the streets, people would go outside and tend their gardens, they would cut their grass, they would rake their grass, they'll sweep their sidewalks, sweep the driveways, trying to make their community look good. They should be proud of their community. But now, I see tumbleweeds going through a community and everybody's inside their homes. And there was you see in a lot of these, sometimes you see them in TV shows and stuff, you walk into a house and everybody's on electronics. The yard's neglected. The house is a mess. They're eating out of cans, or it's exaggerated. But is it really? Because there is so many things that are neglected. And I'm getting an angel coming down, a big one, that hits the ground and shakes the earth, and wings that fill the sky with many eyes. It's Metatron. I haven't seen Metatron in a while. And he takes the staff and he hits the ground really, really, really hard. And it actually takes the whole earth and kind of turns it upside down, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and spins it and shakes it. And then pulls the staff out of the ground, and the world is upside down. And everybody falls from the ceiling to the floor. And he basically just says, if you don't get your shit together, your world is going to be upside down. And you're going to fall from the ceiling to the floor. And nothing will ever be the same again. So I ask him, what is it that we can do? And he points staff and he's shaking. I've never seen him this upset. And he's almost like his fingers shaking. He's saying, you need to get your shit together. He's not talking necessarily to me. He's talking to the world. He's looking past me and he's pointing towards a city. Specifically. And he yells very, 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 very loud. And everything, anybody in the city covers their ears just for a second. And they take their hands off their ears and their ears are bleeding. Man, he's upset about what's happening in cities, especially cities. He can't believe what is happening in cities. It's almost to the point where there's something that's going to happen in the world that will shake the foundation of everything. And he literally has like his staff is already on its way down to hit the earth. And the only way he's going to stop if the city streets fill with people. And that's when he's going to take his staff off the ground and stop it from coming to the earth. Is when people start to stand up for what is right. The people need to get off their phones, get off the couch, walk outside, and just live their life again. To stand up for what they believe in. To do what is right. Man, the stuff happening in some of these cities that he's extremely upset about. And it's not the part about hatred. It's the idea that he really cares about how people are being treated. And there's cities here that people are being completely mistreated. And it's only going to be tolerated for so long. Now, does this mean that he's going to come down and actually change the world? He says no. But when his staff hits the ground, something changes in the world that we have to live with. And it's not him that's going to do it. We're going to do it to ourselves. But when his staff hits the ground, it's going to influence people to do it themselves. In other words, he's not going to change the world. We would change it ourselves by the influence of the staff hitting the ground. Is a representation of us doing something catastrophic to each other. So what of us, it's like I hear a lot of this, and there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and it's a lot of things that we could talk about as fear. I hear this all the time as frustration in our own hearts. He's saying we have to stand up. We have to speak the truth, what we believe in, get outside. Stop just being inside your homes, because that's what they want. They want us to stay inside our homes, be good little minions, and never actually go outside. So what else do you have to say? Throws his hands up into the air. Interesting. It's almost like you have an angel that comes down that speaks to the world about the importance of something serious going to happen that's going to devastate the world unless we actually stand up and change it. At one time, would have spoke a lot louder than it does now. Like I say, I'm only one person. I can speak this, but people are not necessarily going to believe it. What you need to do is give the world a sign that you exist. He turns around for a second, and he's thinking about this, because he understands the complexities of this. I understand it. People that watch this video might understand it, but nobody's going to completely believe it, because is it real or is it not? If people actually believed, if, for instance, if you showed up in the sky, Metatron, with your staff and showed the world a vision of this, that would change everybody's mind right off the bat. We'd be like, oh, fuck yeah, we got to do something. The problem is that now my voice only has a certain impact. I would like you to come here and show yourself in the way that you show yourself to me. Even if you appeared in everyone's dream at one time with the same vision, would have a huge impact in the world. But then he says that isn't allowed. That's the frustrating part. Well, why the hell not? And that's part of the problem, is because we as a human race want some real tangible proof. That's why people don't believe anymore. Because there's only specific people that can speak to you. So if there's only specific people that can speak to you, what makes what we say real to everyone else? It's real to me, but it's not real to the people watching the videos unless they actually get the same vision. That also frustrates me, because I want to see real, tangible truth. He's thinking about this. He says me water that becomes ice. It's not the same thing. but it's two different states. It's like if I can show you water and that's all it can be, and you want ice, I can't give it to you because I only could stay in a state of water. What? And then you have fire that melts both and reveals the water. And creates steam, which then now both water and ice are the same thing. So you have to change your state in order to see the truth. That's why he can't talk to us, because we need to change your state. Until we're able to change our state, he won't be able to talk to us. So I guess me talking to you is superseding the state of water and ice to steam. And I could talk to you because I changed my state inside my mind to talk to you. However, in order to be physical, we have to change our state in the physical world in order to talk to the angels. And he says, correct. So what is this supposed to do? He's saying that we changed our state. At one time, our state wasn't this. It was closer to water, but now it's ice. So since it's different state, he no longer can talk to us in the way that he was able to before in the physical world. They are working on it, though. They say they are working on it. Anyway, that's all he's going to share with us, and this video is getting fairly long. That's all I have. Let me know in the comments if you wish for me to do a journey into something. And I know sometimes I don't do things as frequently as I would like, and sometimes I would like to do it more often. Obviously, life sometimes doesn't give me the opportunity to do that. So when I do, I'll do as many videos as I can, hoping that realistically, I would like to do this more often. Sometimes life doesn't allow that to happen. I do it in my car. Don't know why. I just find it very peaceful to be in my car. To be able to look at beautiful scenery is addicting. It's peaceful. Sometimes it's just nice to get out of your house and experience things. So the little light that we do have in the Yukon this time of the year, it's nice to be out and experience it, because it can be quite beautiful this time of the year. Be good to one another. If you wish to do a journey with me, you can visit my website at amonrosstheawakening.com. And I have a Northern Life page, Joseph Bradley Roars, and I have touring that I do on the side at yukonskies.com. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.